changing.
Into what?
You didn't come here looking for answers. You came here looking for permission. Jean.
The first trailer for Dark Phoenix is here. We're going to break down the trailer for the latest X-Men movie. But first, subscribe to GameSpot Universe, where we've got you covered for movie reviews, TV breakdowns, and comic book deep dives. Go check out our video explaining Marvel's Kree-Skrull War to prep you for Captain Marvel. The latest X-Men movie, simply titled Dark Phoenix, follows the story of Jean Grey, played by Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner. A lot happens in this trailer, so let's break it down scene by scene. A young Jean Grey stands in front of Xavier's mansion. She asks Charles Xavier if he can fix her, and he reassures her that she is not broken. She seems very young and much younger than most people in the X-Men cinematic universe when they realize they have superhuman abilities. In the comics, Jean manifested her powers when she was around 8 years old after her friend was hit by a car and killed right in front of her. Jean sits in Xavier's office. We can hear Charles say, "The mind is a fragile thing." He continues saying that even a slight tap can move it in the wrong direction. Foreshadowing. What is this moment that causes Jean to break? We saw some of her Dark Phoenix powers in 2016's X-Men Apocalypse. Could that have unlocked something when Jean went full force at the end of the movie? Hank McCoy, played by Nicholas Hoult, is running some tests on Jean in the lab under the X-Mansion. It seems like the early parts of the film will revolve around trying to fix Jean, who has become broken. Earlier, we saw Jean get dropped off at the school alone. That's because her parents are more than likely dead. While riding in the backseat of the car with her parents up front, Jean's powers manifested, or were just uncontrollable at that moment, and her mind moved the car into oncoming traffic, where it collided with a truck. From the look of it, Jean was the only survivor. An adult Jean Grey looks for answers and finds herself at a commune. There she finds Magneto and wants his help. She tells him that she's looking for answers. Now Magneto, in the comics and in the movies, is a guy who wants to be left alone where he's not in the heat of battle. Magneto in this scene is on Genosha, the island nation he eventually led in the comics that is home to mutants. Jessica Chastain shows up in a church. She's playing a character named Smith. She tells Jean she doesn't belong here. Does this here mean in the church, or the X-Men, or maybe even on Earth? There are plenty of rumors surrounding Smith's real identity. Some people think she's actually Mr. Sinister, an immortal geneticist who is pretty evil, while others think she's Lilandra, the Empress of Shi'ar, an alien with a knack for metal helmets. Could she even be Mastermind, a telepathic mutant and member of the Hellfire Club, known for manipulating Jean in the comics? He was also known as an instrumental part in creating Dark Phoenix. This role is top secret, and all we know about Smith is that she's a shapeshifter and an alien. That's it. Mr. Sinister isn't an alien, but Lilandra isn't a shapeshifter. I know this is the X-Men cinematic universe and all, but maybe she's a Skrull. There are a few glimpses of X-Men we've come to know and love throughout the series. Quicksilver, played by Evan Peters, seems to have cleaned up his act. Storm left Egypt and has become a full-fledged member of the X-Men. This is the first time we see a real change in Jean Grey. There's a little bit of orange in her eyes. Because this is a movie and not a direct adaptation of a comic book story, it's hard to know if the Phoenix Force is a cosmic entity or just another side of Jean that's been buried for years. We're going to go with the latter, and this is the start of a darker version of Jean. Here's your X-Men team lineup for the latest movie. From left to right, we have Quicksilver, Nightcrawler, Beast, Professor X, Cyclops, Storm, and Mystique. The movie is going to get to a point where Jean may be beyond help, and the X-Men, the people in life who truly care for her, will have to try and stop her. Notice a truck in the background reads Bishop Power, an Easter egg in reference to the X-Man Bishop who absorbs and releases energy. As Cyclops is trying to reason with Jean, the Red Hook police show up and Jean flips the police cars. Red Hook is a town in upstate New York which has also been referenced in the show Legion. The X-Men won't be the only people after Jean. She's going to do something that gets the attention of some form of military. As to what event made this happen is unknown, but it's going to have to be something big. However, Jean won't be running and hiding. In the next scene, she uses her telekinesis to take down a helicopter. Yes, that's the X-Men's jet, the Blackbird, headed into space. Much of the later parts of the Dark Phoenix Saga comic story involves space travel, primarily confrontations with the Shi'ar and Lilandra. Will Dark Phoenix be adding that to this movie? Things start to get really crazy when we notice a rift between McCoy and Xavier. Beast says to him, "This is your fault, Charles." This is likely referring to something Xavier did with Jean's mind as a child that made the whole Phoenix debacle worsen as she aged. The Blackbird, flying in space above Earth, has a fireball emitting energy behind it. This is probably Jean Grey as Phoenix. Did the X-Men leave Earth because Jean had become so powerful she could destroy the planet? You're always sorry, Charles, and there's always a speech, but nobody cares. Magneto says this as we see him pick up his helmet and put it on. Aside from Beast, it seems Magneto is not happy with the decisions Xavier made dealing with Jean Grey. Lines have been drawn and Beast has parted ways from Charles. He's now teamed with Magneto and 2 other mutants we can assume are from Genosha. Don't do this, Xavier says to Beast, Magneto, and company as the 2 groups face off. Xavier's team at this point is made up of Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Storm, and himself. What happened to Mystique and Quicksilver? Please don't let this be the funeral for Quicksilver. We already saw him die in Age of Ultron. Both Xavier and Beast stand on opposite ends of the dirt mound. Not even in death can their rift be repaired. Also, why is it always raining at funerals in movies? Jean goes full Phoenix towards the end of the trailer. Bizarrely enough, she's wearing an X-Men outfit which matches the others we saw earlier on. This could be earlier in the story where Dark Phoenix takes over Jean when she's still a full-fledged member of the X-Men. Dark Phoenix hits theaters on February 14th, 2019. Looks like my Valentine's Day plans are set. What did you think of the Dark Phoenix trailer? And who is Jessica Chastain's character really? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.